I was trucking this way, you know, coming eastbound and down, man, up the old, what do you call that, you know, Pikes Peak? No, it wasn't Pikes Peak. What was that? I was trucking over the Sierras, man, yeah, down there in California, coming Nevada way, okay? And the sun's going down behind me and the moon's coming up in front of me. Only I don't know that's the moon over there in the eastern horizon. I just see it staying kind of bright blue and turning a little whitish, but really, really bright. And I'm going, oh my goodness, what is that? And I'm looking behind me in my rear views, and sure as hell the sun's gone down already. And it should be all dark out there, but it ain't. You know, and some kind of warpage, some kind of weird warpage happens in the reality. And the moon comes up covering 2/3 of the horizon, man. I'm telling you, it was big and fat, like it was close up, like somebody had it on a 500-power telescope, man. You could see the rocks and craters and shit and all kinds of other stuff too, man. But it was so massive that you didn't even think about what you seen. You thought about what to do. You know, is this thing going to collide with the earth? Is this my last living breath? The only thing I could think was, God dang, why couldn't I have been home when this happened, you know? I mean, if you're going to wipe out, you're going to go. You might as well go, you know, when the heart of your family, don't you know? Well, see, that's the thought we're all thinking now, because it's a moment just like that here on this earth, where what we thought was here and steady and absolute forever is changing. The whole sky is rearranging, our whole view of life is rearranging, our inner view as well as our outer view too, because we're finding out they're one and the same, you know. So we've had a view before that was kind of lame. Well, gosh, you know, sometimes you got to, you know, go on crutches, roll in a wheelchair for a bit until you get feeling better, you know. Take care of yourself, baby, so it's okay, whatever's gone on. Ain't that way no more. You know, we gave up the wheelchair a long time ago, man. Found our feet. Found our breath. Found our life living in the sunlight that surrounds us day and night. You know, without light, there ain't no darkness, you see. That's what the moon reminds you of. But the moon, just like it did back there in the 70s sometime when that actual event happened to me, well, it's just like right now, the whole perspective of 3D is going multi-dimensional. And you're going to think, man, it might be a disaster. A lot of people trying to get you to think that way. Think of change through disaster. Nothing good can come from this. It's all living hell. It's only hell getting worse and worse and worse and worse until we get to feeling better in ourselves. And say, what the hell? I ain't going along with that shit no more. You know, you see right through it, then you get to it. See, it's so simple and so real and so right. And a lot of people are confused about it. See, but it's just what's happening in this reality. As sure as anything. You're moving beyond the 3D. We all are. It's us. Jeezo Weezo, all of us. Saint, sinner, devil, and angel, and all our perspectives of different shit in between there. You know, whatever we even felt ourselves to be, it's kind of superficial now. I mean, you know, we knew we were just, you know, being robotic and controlled by a machine somehow, but we couldn't quite get the rhythm and the rock of it. It took us a while. So we had to go through this archaic caveman age where they brought forth the automobile and the truck to go with it and the flying airplane that took gasoline and shit, fixed wing thing, you know, didn't flap like a bird, didn't soar like the eagle or the vulture, man. Talk about a gifted flyer. The vulture's one of the best, see. We all put our gifts then to the test, right along with the vulture and the eagle too, man. And then the grand condor, yes, baby, the angels, man. Even in the little sparrow, in the little hummingbird, angels, baby. Reflecting back to you your own truth. Same with the trees, man. Angels in a fixed reality. No, but they're growing and expanding all the time. They're part of the flow, don't you know? And they record, see, that original moment, right from that time, man. All these trees, quite divine. Why? There's an assault on trees these days. They know that. That's where the truth is, man. They don't want you to feel it. They don't want you to have that resonation, that rock and roll, the rhythm of heart and soul. They want to deny that pleasure to you. Shut up and be happy, okay? Or we'll just shoot you down, save you all that misery, huh? Oh, baby. But the reality's coming around, see? We see through the illusion of that kind of treachery. And we see that it just can't be. The disastrous thought is not being created here. It's the exact opposite. But see, you see, even in thinking for the disaster, and kind of begging for it too, because you're just so damn miserable in it, and you think everybody else is, because your misery's got to be everybody's, right? Well, this is how we put an end to suffering in this 3D. But seeing what can be, that desire, that urge to see it, destroyed by nuclear weaponry or, some other awful bullshit thing in this reality, It's really a desire to see it recreated, to see an end to the misery and pain, It's like, see, that's where pain drives you, to points of desperation. Then you realize, as you start to rock and roll, you start to hear a divine harmony in it, man. That first beat of the drum that began it all, that first twang on the guitar string that, started this whole rock and roll medicine show to go, man. You start to hear the resonation and the flow, then it's a divine harmony, don't you know? And we've played it out in a kind of a soap opera-ish sort of way, where there was all this good and evil at play, and the evil really seemed more attractive than the good, because the good was always holier than thou, and therefore didn't feel bad about abusing folks. And you got to where you couldn't tell good from evil, because guess what? There wasn't any of that. It's a puppet show we made for ourselves, keep ourselves entertained for a while, drag ourselves into the rock and roll reality, the resonant harmony of truth, man, of living in the creation in a rock and roll sort of way. The flow, man, the rhythm and the harmony of the heart and soul, in tune with everything, don't you know? See, that's harmony. Yeah, and everybody's taught to think that primal things are such a disgrace. Wipe that smile off your face. Sonny boy, I'm going to force you to be good. Well, that's evil. Trying to be good. Well, we got to give it credit. At least it was trying in its odd, offhanded sort of way. I mean, that's sick, syncopated shit today, but that's the rock and roll way, man. Without the bullshit, there can't be flowers. You got to have both, man. The prairie grasses grow because the buffalo crap there, don't you know? They reprocess the experience of the continual flow of life. And when you break the bullshit down to its elemental stuff, it ain't so offensive anymore. And you grab it up and place it on the flower. Well, basically, creation just brings flowers, because what else wants to grow from the shit of the buffalo but beautiful flowers? And tall prairie grass is too coarse. Of course. Got to have, your chow now, don't you know? This is part of what's dissolving away. It's the very idea that we're hungry, that we need anything, that we aren't everything already. You see, that we're insufficient in any way. You see, the buffalo and his spirit heart has held that steady medicine for humanity, generation after generation after generation, as if it's going to be there forever. And guess what? It is. It held that for us when we felt separate from it, see? We chose the odd kind of experience, man. We let ourselves dissolve away into a 3D. We didn't know what the hell that was when we stepped into it, man. But it seemed attractive, There was this dapper little rattlesnake with a derby hat on that talked to us through the visuation of the wall there, man, He made it sound so cool to be over there where it was hot and cold and the stars came out at night and shit like that. We're like, wow, that's an odd thing, man, to feel separate from your reality. Wow, that's intriguing, man, So we got tempted into it, of course, man, I mean, you could call it that, but it's like he presented one aspect of the picture. He didn't lie. He told the truth, but just one little tiny part of it, man, you know. Didn't add that, well, once you step in here, you ain't going out of here till you learn your way through the riddle of life, you know. And we're going to be here recording it all and laughing our asses off as you stumble and fall on your faces till you get blue in the face and finally had enough of it, you know, till the bullshit can give to the fertile ground of reality and the blossoming of a true heart once again. Baby, when you get it back, you're going to so love it. You're going to so rock with it. In the meantime, we'll give you life and death, so, you know, you don't get separate from your family all the time. You know, we'll meet you halfway, baby, you know. What a training grounds. What a proving ground. What a truth we've found in remembering what's inside of each one of us. You know, the old man and his little dog, too, and all these divine angels of love hanging around. Oh, it's so clear. We all work together in this, dear, one way or another. The energy and the flow is the same stream of life in everyone. And we're each a little speck in that stream, a little part of the flow, man, and the whole damn flow to go with it. Blessedly so. That's the rock and the roll. That's the rhythm and harmony. We came here to remember, don't you know? Now, you heard me mention a little while ago about a time stick down there in Arizona or someplace like that. Red Rock country, I say. So we won't identify it by states of being or superficial boundaries in any way. But I think in those, you just might find a suggestion of where it might be, you see? And how we disguise things from ourselves in plain sight here in this 3D. Okay, now I want you to think about a place called Four Corners, where, you know, the greedy thoughts made some kind of division between them, so this sect could have that much and that sect could have... I mean, you know, that's that crazy European shit that thinks you can own everything and divide it away from itself and have borders and boundaries. So, in this obscenity is found a suggestion of our reintegration with our eternal truth. The remembrance in every heart, then, of what's really the F going on here and has been forever and ever, dear. Now, I first felt that. I mean, it's a cosmic joke. But I experienced it in a moment of time. You've heard me, probably if you're a regular listener, you might have heard me describe this before, but it's a moment outside of time. And, of course, the devil brought me there and made me do it, too, man. I didn't dare not, okay? Speaking in a metaphorical sort of way, but in a real sense, too. Coyote medicine through and through. I don't seem to take the easy path to anything, you know, and oftentimes I get the awareness of everything and don't even know I've been there until 20 years later or something. I mean, you know, time is so irrelevant to the beings of love, and that's us. So we don't mind dragging ourselves through a little more of it if that's what it takes to get it on, baby, you know. We're kind of funny that way. The human side of it's really obstinate, you know. Can be a little slow, but yet it's not disharmonious. It's just the gritty side of rock and roll, see. So we're about to give up all the mother truck and rolls we see here in the 3D, every jack last one of them, because of a little moment back in 2001, you know. I mean, it's not the only moment, it's just a metaphor, you know. But anyway, the moment they had this little monument there, the Indians do, you know, the Navajos, I'm sorry. I'm talking Western now, and I got to be respectful, because Indians is a comic, satiric term, okay? I call myself an Indian, too, you know, even though I'm white and blue. How about you? You blue, too? I thought so, see? Hey, Corey Good, maybe those blue avians do exist after all. Oh, those that have been following that stuff know what I'm talking about. I'm not going there, you know, but it's a funny story, isn't it? God, the odd shit we get involved in here in this 3D, you know. But the existence of that moment, see, is like, to the borders and boundaries, you know, they got this monument where the four corners of four of these greedy states of being came into being, you know, and it's a commemorative little monument there in the approximate location of the real boundaries, quote, quote. Who can tell? I mean, it's made out of bullshit to start with, so, you know, it's just a metaphor like the rest of 3D is, man, you know. And boy, we're learning how to resolve that now, aren't we, man? That's why so many of your stories are told in metaphoric form. So many of your visions and dreams, your experiences in life, in metaphoric form. So we learn to see beyond, you know, the fixed reality, but what it's suggesting to us in this kind of lighthearted, joking, but heavily ironic sort of way. Coyote medicine through and through. Coming up pure, just like the spring water does there at Spring Creek, man, you know, it's like, wow. It's the basic essence of life, you know, and the way you show yourself that you're mature. It's not by giving up the childhood, but by living it in this little bit larger sort of way, where the rockin' is the roll, and you know, you see, you give feeling to all the machinery of it. There's no heartlessness left. It never existed. Divine illusion created for experiential love to know an odd aspect of itself it hadn't even considered before. And we went through it pretty thoroughly, you know, in a lot of different ways, you know. But see, what's coming forward cosmically is that moment in time, metaphorically represented by 2001. It was in January, too. I don't think it was New Year's Day. But that would have been the perfect metaphor, wouldn't it? So let's say it's New Year's Day just for bullshit purposes, okay? And there the old man steps on that little monument that represents the coming together of all these four states of being, which by odd coincidence are the four directions in the sky and the earth. You see, it's a monumental place of being, you see, in a metaphoric way. And so you step there and you feel the energy of it. There's a bonding, there's a union of heart there, and union of energy. In this odd, weird frickin' world we live in, this 3D, all of a sudden there's this multi-dimensional experience. I didn't even know it was coming, you know. I was like just going with the flow of whatever was going on, don't you know? It's the way I do things too often, man. All the time these days. You know, and we're all doing that, you know, in our own odd satiric sort of way. And these are kind of moments where we begin to realize that when the multidimensional presence makes itself all that too visible, all that too obvious. You know what? There was probably a crowd of 300-400 people hanging around there, mostly family people with little kids and dogs and stuff, you know, so it's a noisy place, you know. Well, shucks. This day, man, when I stepped over those lines, and, you know, for whatever the reason, everybody got quiet. They felt it, you know, and it's still us living in a metaphoric sense and suggestion to ourselves of the much larger presence of our real presence of being here. So we're not just a bunch of little worms scuttering around on the face of the earth, you know, busily trying to get things done just for the purpose of doing it. You know, meaningless, soulless, presentless life. No way, that's the machinery. See, but the machinery needed to feel too. See, we had needed to know the machinery, which is our creation, is created of our feeling, of our heart. No matter how we manufactured it into being. Even if you use robot slave labor, the robot too, man. You know? You see, that's why we went through this age of machinery here, you know, was to learn to feel the machine. That's why we had this fascination with the automobile and the truck to go with it, you know, etc. You know, and the big bulky machinery I'm not going to describe. Most of it's pretty destructive. Yet we had to learn to feel the machine. And the machine had to learn to feel not only what it was into, but what it was doing itself in everything. The same as everything else does, see. The whole idea that could even be a separate energy is created of a fictional reality. You know, that machine-like reality we lived in for quite a while, in a perceptual sort of way. More like a nightmarish dream, wouldn't you say? But see, now we got the lesson of it. We got the feeling of it all now. There's not any part of it that we isolate or separate from ourself anymore. See, that was a misperception. That was a creation in the dream, the nightmare, the 3D, the third dimensional reality of density and darkness and shit like that. I mean, you know, poetic comedy, man. Coyote through and through, a really clear moment when we remember it too. You know, it's an ever-expanding, rotating love. comes through, right through the roots, just like nutrients do, right into the full presence of expression. We're like the tree of life, each one of us, and we expand out in all directions. So really, there's no distinction any longer between the roots and the tree itself. Both have leaves on them, are equally grand. They're just a mere reflection of one another. We grow from a central place where the earth and sky join with the nutrients of the heart, the organic, and the water, man. Starting to get it clear. It's all one moment. Just like when I stepped on that four corners, and what that metaphorical moment might suggest to you was only about 10 seconds, baby, but it was profound as all get out. I didn't even know it at the time. I felt it. I lived it. I'm still living it. That's why I can replicate it here in some way, because I don't let go of it in that way, but in the way that it always exists. One moment, singular. Same way that odd joining of the four directions there, brought about by a larcenous heart, could be such a great metaphor and such a representation of a profound thing of our truth, the life, truth of our life and our living. And there it is, plain as day in our faces, but we don't see it. It's a monument. It's a decoration to the politicians and stuff, and in some way it is. But in some way it ain't that at all. It tells you where the truth is. It's in that centering place where all things join, where all things begin and spread out in the 7 directions. The center and everything that expands from. Given in that crystalline sort of way, double tetrahedron. Elongated, crystalline, very clear pyramids butted together. So there is no division between them. It's just like that tree of life. The roots in the tree are the same. One's just a reflection of the other. And even though they seem to be growing out in opposite ways, they grow together in the same direction. And in all directions. You see, from the roots of the tree, which is humanity, comes the end of all that insanity and the perfection of our growth, because we see clear. Because we're rocking and rolling with it, dear. Because we can laugh at the most impoetic of things, it seems. And then we start to see the poetry even in that irony. Wow. And the whole illusion of it, the whole dream of it, the whole experience of it too just dissolves into what we really truthfully be. All things present in this reality. That little place where it all begins, where earth and sky and ocean and atmosphere, everything just joins right there and creates that double reflected tree going into the whole extension of reality, way beyond the 3D. That's just where it begins, man. It's where the roots have been, well, now been is the resolution of all of that. See, nothing, not the root, not the flower, not the leaf, is denied its fullness of expression. Everybody gets to blossom, in other words. You can't help what part and what play you were on the tree. Maybe you were a fungus trying to take it all down, not bring it around. Well, okay, you're not that anymore. You're complementary. And even then you were. By stressing us that way, you gave us the strength to grow stronger, taller, larger, more enjoyably so. We knew our day of blossoming would come, but we knew we had to be really large to encompass all of that. So it took a hell of a lot of expansion and growth. And just like the tree is, you got to be patient about it. It comes as it comes, and you grow those little ringy thingies as you grow them, right? Right. And some SOB comes along, wants to take you down. No way, baby. Put that chainsaw on the ground, Give this little tree a hug, baby, and we'll give you the drug of choice, Expansive truth. A spring crick moment where you see where it all is, just centered in the center of everything. And it's rock and roll harmony, man. It's tone, it's sound, it's resonation in the most silent moment there could ever be. Ecstatically so, man, way beyond the 3D. And guess what? The gateway opened. back there in the 50s sometime when the black and white world gave way to the color of rock and roll. Grudgingly so, I'd say, but they let us in, baby. That's all it took. Compromise yourself to death to, grab that glory, but through that glory came the opening. That superficial thing came the real thing. We've all played our role here, okay? That's the irony of it. Everybody's, touched by it in some way or another, even if you didn't go along with it, it's still there, and you're a part of it too. Just by not going along with it, you're part of what's helping it reverse itself in a way. But it's really just rising above what we've been living in. In other words, expanding from that experience into the fuller presence of what creates all of that. And experiences it too. See, now that was the opening of rock and roll. It's a beginning moment, just like stepping across those 4 little lines, man. I mean, it's amazing what it can be like to be centered, a little beyond time, and to know really how creation operates. And see its function literally blossoming out from you into everything and everywhere. And everything is, this tonal harmony coming from inside of this moment that you somehow house and represent inside of this human person, which seems to be part of the larger part of it. Don't seem to be separate and isolated at all. Seems to be the center of it in moments like that, see. Well, rock and roll harmony was a beginning moment too. When they let us in, despite all the ugly conditions, they let us in. That's when the universe began to return itself to its ever-present reality. I mean, that's the only way we got through here. It's steady as a horse and then some. There is a tonnage that held us together. That reality that seemed to be the one we felt like we were separate from when we first put our feet on the sand, stepped through that shimmery little wall, man, and began to experience breath and hot and cold and stuff like that. All of these moments, See, and it's all written down in a sense, the same way a tree absorbs the truth and records it, of everything going on around it. Well, there's that place, and I think this metaphorical 4 corners thing kind of points in the direction that it might just be this reality of this crystalline thing that's hidden beneath the earth, the soil, but is the tree of life in a sense that it just records everything that goes on here, all aspects of it, in all perspectives. It's got everything. So the general flow of life, once this thing is reactivated, once people learn how to tune into this moment we're describing, that's where you activate that thing. And it happens inside of you first and foremost, because what's here in the 3D is only a metaphorical suggestion of the reality of what lives in us and what we really are made of, okay? It's rock and roll, baby, and it's very Koyote, and it's rock and roll. It's rhythm and harmony with a jungle beat, man, Some really harsh strings in there, man, Some really gnarly voices, Sympathy for the devil and then some. See him beyond that bullshit, baby, Take it all in, this moment. This singular moment, Let it grow. Don't be afraid of it no more. That's living truth. That's rock and roll. That's the Koyote medicine in motion, baby, in the stream of life we call Spring Crick. The flow begins here, don't you know? On the Everclear Hazy Radio Network with Grandpa, Coyote, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and a whole bunch of feathered friends tuning in along with you too. Well, man, it's all family, isn't it? Wow, resonate with that, baby, okay? Ooh, I